Hey Psychos, ready for the next theory? You're about to find out what it's going to be. And, well, let's just say that in this theory we're taking a certain page out of another theorist's book. That theorist being MatPat. Let's get ready. Here's a subject you never thought we'd touch on. A certain famous Sega character. I'm sure you've all at least played one of his games. That's right. Today, we're talking about the blue blur himself, Sonic. Now, while a lot of people say that Sonic doesn't go as fast as he should, he isn't actually as fast as they say he is, and I'm not trying to say that that's the theme of today's theory. Oh no. We're not focusing on his speed, we're focusing less on the science and more on his abilities. I'll explain it through the theory, but you'll eventually get the main gist of it. Just keep watching and you'll know what I mean. Now, I can't be the only person who has ever thought about the fact that A, hedgehogs aren't blue, and B, hedgehogs, while if they are trying to run from something, are quite fast, are in fact they're quite slow is what I'm basically trying to say. And as for his friends, there's a few different things that you need to realise about them. Let's go over each of the characters in moderate detail. Otherwise this video is going to be a little bit too long. Let's start with Mr. Speedy himself. For starters, hedgehogs wouldn't just have about 5 quills, as Sonic does. They could have up to hundreds. So, there's one point for the theory, which you'll know what the theory is eventually during this video. And as for things such as him wearing shoes, he would have had to have grown about 3 times his own size to even have one of his feet get anywhere near fitting into a shoe. So he must have clearly had a default version, or a normal hedgehog, and he also clearly must have his blue blur form, as I'm going to refer to it as. Though, there are other characters who have this sort of similarity. For example, one of his first partners. I'm talking, of course, about Tails Miles Prower, one of Sonic's first and best partners in game. While you'd think, what could be wrong with him? He's a fox. There's quite a few things. For example, the intelligence of a fox in reality is quite high, but the IQ of 300 is more than exaggerated. And as for things such as having 2 tails, I don't think that was just a birth formality. I think that may have been something different. Though, on with the rest of this theory. Because now we have to go with the blue blurs fittists, if you will. Of course, I mean the echidna known only as Knuckles. What I mean by Knuckles being the fist is that he has extremely large fists and a much stronger, shall we say, attack power. However, he really shouldn't. Because, in reality, some of Knuckles' key abilities in his first appearance could never really happen to a real echidna. Echidnas can't really fly whatsoever. Yes, they can dig, they can definitely dig. They can dig for all they like. Heck, most of the time they dig to hide. However, Knuckles uses digging to attack, meaning that he would be quite angry most of the time. Yeah. Point is, along with that ability, Knuckles wouldn't actually have, well, the knuckles that he has. Instead of having the knuckles on his hands, he'd have something closer to having the same amount of knuckles he has on his fists in a different area. I don't think it'd be best if I mention that different area, seeing as how I want this video to actually be viewable by those who are younger. So instead, I am going to leave a link to what I mean in the description, and yes, it'll be a link to the to another channel who has done a video called Scientifically Accurate Sonic the Hedgehog. They basically explain it at the very end of the video. And almost all of the same points I'm explaining, except for the theory. But, speaking of the theory, now that we've got through each of the characters' bios, if you will, there's only one thing left to do. And that is to actually talk about the theory. Now, pass this off as idiotic ramblings from just your average nerd, which they possibly could be. There is a chance that they could be canon, though it's a very slim one. You see, the reason that this theory, in my mind, exists is because, well, basically, Eggman is the only human being ever seen in any game, ever. Which got me thinking, if Eggman had survived, where could all the others be? What happened to the human race? And this is where my mind then associated things to other things, because at the time of me doing this, I was playing the game Fallout, which instantly drove my mind to maybe it was a radioactive explosion and Eggman was the only one to survive. And, well, I'm still thinking that now, and it's plausible. Think of it like this. Eggman survives it, and along with while he survives and thrives by creating new technology, he's also adding to the waste in every area. Now, I can support this by saying that while some areas are fresh and green, others aren't. What if civilization was only in the areas that, well, aren't as green? It makes sense. A radioactive explosion happening in an urban area, I believe, actually has happened before. Chernobyl explosion, anyone? But my point is, if Eggman did survive it and he's adding to the radiation in the area, then what if Sonic and his friends are a result of the fallout? Mutations. Let's go over each of them in detail. Now, when we think about it like this, Sonic was the only actual animal in the first game who had been mutated. This is shown by him having to actually help rescue other animals which looked normal. They hadn't been mutated in the way Sonic had, which got me thinking. That's how characters such as Tails and Knuckles mutated. You'd think Knuckles has always been like that. He's the guardian of the Chaos Emeralds. What if the Chaos Emeralds are a result of the radiation as well? But I'm getting off track. We'll start with Sonic's friends. You see, as Sonic's fighting Eggman trying to save the animals, which Eggman is trying to actually he have them reproduce so that way he can sustain life. He's still then alive. However, Sonic was then seen as an anti-hero in that sense, trying to save them all. However, by doing so, he might have doomed his own landscape by him actually, well, causing Eggman to create more robots, more creations, more pollution. That then caused the fallout and the radiation to get worse. And other creatures, like, say, a yellow fox, or even just a red echidna, were mutated. And in the second game, game of trick again. As I was saying, that would mean that Tails, in the second game, would have ended up finding Sonic, and that's why, unlike in reality, where a fox would eat a hedgehog such as Sonic, they decided to partner up. They were the only two that had been mutated, and as a result, they knew that they could rely on each other, because basically at that point they were, well, literally the phrase brother from another mother. Though at the time they worked as partners throughout their adventures, and it's respectable that they did. If they had fought alongside each other for too long, or had become full-on friends at the very beginning, then that would have actually caused much more destruction. But that's for another day. The point is, it might also explain how Eggman is both quick and fat. You see, as MatPat from Game Theory pointed out in his theory for Sonic, which even I must say isn't exactly accurate in any capacity. Sorry, MatPat, if you're watching. But the point is, he stated that in every appearance that you go to fight Eggman in the original games, he's always outrunning you. That, my good viewers, once again, is a mutation. Eggman survived, yes, but his body was changed. And while he's trying to keep enough, well, calories and fat to survive, his mutation meant that he's actually faster. It's the same reason that Sonic's faster, in fact. Which brings up another point. Characters like Rouge or Amy, all of them are forms of mutant. Now, post whatever comments you like below, whether it be Sonic Men X-Men parodies, or whether it be Fallout 4 with Sonic in them. I honestly couldn't care less. The point is, this would be the theory that I came up with. If you have a different one, post it down below. Though, this one actually does, though some theories do make quite a lot of loopholes in them, I think that this one has very little loopholes. Though, if you can find one, point it out. Find it in this video. Tell me in the comments. Don't worry, the entire channel will watch out. And as always, if you can't find the truth, it's because you're not looking hard enough. See you next theory. Bye. Hey guys, I would like to thank our partner YouTuber Phobia Maker for providing the idea for this theory, or at least the theme. The theory idea we came up with ourselves, and we hope that you like it. If you do, why not like and subscribe? And hey, maybe in the next theory, if you post a new one below, you might get commented. Well, I say commented. You might get mentioned in every video that it's mentioned in. And if you have a working channel, please remember that we will actually put your channel and any videos that you want us to put in the description of the theory that you provide. So, until next theory, guys. stay crazy. Oh, and remember, if you can't find the truth, it's because you're not looking hard enough. And as always,
Stay crazy.